Hey horror movie fans, I'm Dr. Will Carver, coroner out of Bloomington, Indiana, and this is Dr. Carver's Auteur Autopsy. Since it was just Friday the 13th, tonight we're going to be talking about Friday the 13th, the original. Enjoy! So, Friday the 13th. Did not fucking like. Out of the big four horror movie franchises that started in the 10 years between 74 and 84, those being Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, this one easily starts out the weakest, but I would also argue that it has probably the best sequels. While it does have some excellent kills, it is not a very interesting movie, and there are some things. My plan, bear with me, is to watch a Friday the 13th movie every time a Friday the 13th rolls around until I finish the franchise. So, if this is how the movie begins, I can't wait to watch the rest of them. Start with the goods here. Few pretty good kills, and Tom Savini's makeup effects are pretty solid. Now for the bads. It is extremely unoriginal and adds nothing to the movies that it rips off. Movies such as The Town That Dreaded Sundown, Halloween, and The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all of which I would have rather watched. The pacing is shit, and there are long scenes where nothing happens that go nowhere. So getting into it here, I think pretty much everybody knows the drill at this point. As camp counselors work to reopen Camp Crystal Lake, which basically closed because too many kids died, an unknown killer begins to take them out one by one while the camp is isolated by a strong thunderstorm. The kills were about as gruesome as anyone had seen when the movie came out in 1980 and were highly influential. This was special makeup effects artist Tom Savini's third movie, the first two being George A. Romero films Martin and Dawn of the Dead, which are both classics in a large part because of his work, and the first that he was allowed to just go crazy on. But the deaths are relatively lame by today's standards. Of the deaths, Kevin Bacon is probably the coolest and helped jumpstart his career. It's definitely the most memorable. It's the one where Kevin gets arrowed from underneath the bed in the throat. We get to see the arrow come out, blood spurt, and so forth. This makes up for nothing, however. The stabbing from underneath the bed, or in one movie, a hammock, becomes a standard Friday the 13th kill and happens in almost all of the 10 or so sequels. The biggest glaring fault I have with the movie is its lack of editing. Like at one point we see a girl getting ready for bed in real time. Just when she is about to nod off, she hears what sounds like a child crying in the pouring rain. She goes out to investigate in a nightgown, mind you. I mean, she just had a slicker on in the scene before, but whatever. If there were an award for most inappropriate attire, this chick would probably win it. But that is not a thing, and instead she gets killed in the archery range. So much of the movie is just like waiting around. The filmmakers are trying to build suspense, I suppose, but it feels like just watching people going about their evenings since they don't know anything is going down. The counselors don't even know anyone's missing or anything until the last half hour of the movie when they find a bloody axe in someone's bed. Also irritating is this guy named Ralph. He's this idiot townie that comes up to the counselors and says shit like, "You're doomed, going to Camp Blood, the murder camp. Not coming back from there, you're doomed. You're all doomed." Yeah, stop being such a fucking drama queen. Later, this motorcycle cop shows up looking for this wild man, Ralph. After the cop accuses them of smoking weed, he gets called away on the radio when Ralph immediately shows up. He's like, I'm a messenger of God. You're damned if you say here. This place is cursed. Cursed. It's got a death curse. They're like, yeah, that was probably Ralph. And a character very much like this appears in basically all of the next 10 sequels. And lastly, the thing that really pissed me off about the movie is that they kill a snake on screen. No one wants to see that shit. A snake gets into the cabin and they brutally kill it for being harmless. It wriggles around and shit after this dickhead chops it in half with a machete. Fucking great. I'm glad you all fucking die. And that's why this is the worst movie of all time. Coming up for the rest of October, I'll be talking a lot about Halloween movies, with Murder Party next on the agenda. It's a great little film and I'm pretty stoked to get into it. I'm also presenting Night of the Living Dead at the end of the month, just like I did for Creature of Destruction at the end of September. So look forward to that. This is Dr. Carver, signing off.